Lesson 5.3, Solving Multi-Step Inequalities, Day 1. Our essential question is how does solving a multi-step inequality compare to solving a multi-step equation? So remember that inequalities have inequality symbols in them and equations have an equal sign. So I want you to think about how they compare, how they're similar and how they're different while we're solving these problems today. Our first inequality says 23 is greater than or equal to 10 minus 2x. I'm going to solve this inequality to isolate the variable, and I'm going to be careful with my steps using inverse operations, and remember that if we need to multiply or divide by a negative number, that flips the inequality symbol around. And then at the end of solving, I'm going to make sure that my variable is always on the left. So, to start this problem out, I need to subtract 10 from both sides because we're trying to get our variable alone. 23 minus 10 is 13, so 13 is greater than or equal to negative 2x. My next step is to divide by negative 2 on both sides. Because I'm dividing by a negative, I need to flip my symbol. So 13 divided by negative 2 is negative 6.5. That is less than or equal to x. Then the last thing I'm going to do is just put my variable on the left, so I'm reversing the entire inequality. You don't have to do that, but it's a really great idea, especially if you have to draw a number line graph. Okay, our second inequality has a fraction. X divided by negative 4 plus 11 is less than or equal to 3. To solve this, I would first subtract the 11 on both sides. We're trying to get the x alone, and then after that, so 3 minus 11 is negative 8. After that, I need to multiply by the negative 4. Since it was on the bottom of the fraction, it was being divided. The inverse of dividing is multiplying. Now when I multiply by that negative number, I flip my symbol. So I was multiplying by a negative, flips my inequality symbol around. Negative 8 times negative 4 is positive 32. My variable is on the left, so I am done. Our next example, 9 is greater than negative 4/3 x plus 1. I am going to subtract 1 on both sides first. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 is greater than negative 4/3 x. And then remember, when we have a fraction times our variable, we can multiply by the reciprocal. So if I flip it over, I get negative 3/4. It doesn't matter if you put the negative sign on the 4 or the 3. They're going to cancel out. And because I'm multiplying by a negative, I do need to flip my symbol around. So my symbol is now going to be a less than. And if I put a 1 under by 8 and multiply straight across, I get negative 24 divided by 4, which is negative 6. So negative 6 is less than x, which is the same as x is greater than negative 6, because I want my variable on the left-hand side. Our next inequality, we have some parentheses. So hopefully you remember what to do when you see parentheses. Anytime you see parentheses, you use the distributive property. 6 times 5x is 30x, and 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. You can think of that as a negative 3 or subtracting 3. Either way, you're going to have negative 18. Now I've got a variable on each side. So I am going to subtract the smaller variable from both sides. Negative 18 is then less than 6x. If I divide by 6, I do not need to flip my symbol because I'm dividing by a positive 6 on both sides. So negative 3 is less than x, or if I write my variable on the left, x is greater than negative 3. So when you see the parentheses distribute, and when you have a variable on each side, you need to subtract away one of them so that your variables are on one side. Okay, even more complicated. It's our next inequality. 2 times quantity x plus 6 is greater than negative 3 times the quantity 8 minus x. Okay, so we need to distribute on each side of this one. 2 times x is 2x, plus 2 times 6 is 12. Negative 3 times 8 is negative 24, and negative 3 times negative x is positive 3x. Now, I have variables on each side, so I'm going to subtract away my smaller one. That leaves me with 12 is greater than negative 24 plus x. 3x minus 2x is 1x, so I don't have to write the coefficient 1 in front of the x. Then I need to add 24 in order to cancel out the negative 24. So 36 is greater than x, which means x is less than 36 if I put my variable on the left. Our next one, 46 is less than or equal to 10x minus 4 times the quantity 2x plus 5. This one is a little bit trickier than the others because when you distribute on this problem, you need to treat that 4 as a negative. So I'm really distributing a negative 4. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x, and negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Now, my like terms on this problem are on the same side. So this is different from having a variable on each side. They're on the same side. So 10x minus 8x is 2x. So 2x minus 20. Then I can add 20 on both sides. So 66 is less than or equal to 2x. And then divide by 2. So 33 is less than or equal to x, which means x is greater than or equal to 33. So when your like terms are on the same side, you can combine them. So that means either adding or subtracting them depending on their signs. This problem said 10x minus 8x, so I had to subtract them. If it had said plus, then I would have added them together. Each of them has their own sign, so just be careful when you're combining those like terms. You should be able to write a summary now, answering your essential question. Please make sure you use complete sentences.